So we're going to do the 87 over Shap to get started with, and then I thought I might give my take on a bit of scenario creation. I feel a bit intimidated because I want to carry around master scenario creator, but that's fine. Anyway, right, welcome to Preston. Once you've picked up passengers, you'll run non-stop to Carlisle. Your departure time is 3 o'clock. Have a good trip. So if you haven't driven the 87 before, it's a little bit unusual, and that's because it's an electric loco, but it uses a system called a tap changer, which means that when I ramp the throttle up, I actually don't have direct control over the throttle. I use a thing called a tap changer to notch up and notch down the throttle, which is it's really good fun when you get the hang of it, because it means you've got a different challenge, you've got some different gauges and controls to learn how to use, and more to think about. So as soon as this is finished, we should get clear to go at about 3 o'clock. So we release the brakes, and I'll take a moment because we've got a bit of a train behind us. Let's get the train. So we're in the hold notch position now. I realised I'm talking without pressing the button. Right, so let's start again. Right, so in this controller, I pressed up like that. That's what we're actually controlling. Similarly, if I want to notch down, I press the D key and I can notch down. Right, let's look back out the window, make sure all is good still. Oh, that's rather nice. So we're just leaving Preston, heading northbound. Got green signal by the looks of it, and the speed limit is currently 35. So these controls up here are the ones that are really interesting to us. This one tells us what notch or what tap we're on, and these ones tell us how much power we're putting out to the system. So if I press A and notch, you can see the controller moves up and then goes back. This goes up one step and the power goes up. And as we accelerate, so this is going down again. It's just something to be wary of as you're accelerating. Now of course we're coming up to the 35 miles per hour. Hey there Americano, Alex, and Host by Mike, good to see you on the channel, and ECML. I hope everybody is able to listen okay. Shout on the chat if you are having problems, or if I'm having problems more accurately. So we're now in the 80 speed limit, so let's put some more power on. We're well in the green, so let's tap, tap, tap. Just keep tapping. In fact, at this point we're probably enough. We can leave it and run up. Yeah, so run up has put it all the way to the top here, and it will sit in there latched. Now I can watch the this, and I can say, oh, that's probably enough. So let's put it back in hold. So we've actually gone up to 60%. Now the power is going up, and the speed is coming up very nicely now. So we're going to be getting to this 110 speed limit soon, and then we can put some more power on. So again, we could just keep an eye on our power ratings, this notch number, that's better. So at this point we're coming to accelerating nicely, we're still not near the speed limit. We could actually run up some more, so the notch is going up about once a second, and the power's going up as well. Let's put it back in hold. We'll get the 110 permission any minute now. So just north of Preston is the next piece of really interesting part of this route, from an infrastructure perspective. So at this point we can ramp up to maximum because we're sufficiently low, high on speed. We can leave it there. Let's put it back on hold. Right, so notch is now at 100%, so we're now running at full power. AWS is clear, and our power output is coming down. Oh, it says Stephen's fast. I better change that. Apologies all fixed. So at this point you can see we're still accelerating, and we're doing 93, still accelerating nicely. Of course, that's the thing with the electrics, they've got really good acceleration, and they keep that acceleration up. We're going to be in danger of speeding soon, and everyone knows that how much I hate speeding. You do, don't you? Yeah. So the next thing we're going to do is just notch down so that we don't break the speed limit. Stevens Pass was one of the last videos I did on Friday night, a number of two. So as the speed comes up, hey there Kingy, Ricky and Starbash. So the speed's coming up, we're at 104 now, so I'm going to give it a little bit more time to accelerate, and then I'm going to start notching down. Might as well take advantage of the speed. So our next waypoint is Lancaster Down, which is a through line, and we're due there at 15:15, and the records will be there at 15:16. Wow, I'm driving a bit sluggish. Hey there WCML. So the neutral, the dead zones, neutral sections, they're the bits that we're actually going to be coming up to one of them fairly shortly. They're about every 15 miles, and what happens is all the power disappears to the loco, and it's because the way that power systems have to work over long distance, electricity can't travel that far, and they switch to different power stations and power supplies. Oh, see, now I've made a mistake. I put it into off. Now I've got to leave it in off. So, why have I got to leave it in off? You see this? That's got to come all the way down now. Okay? So wait for this to come down before you try and apply any more power. Once this has reached 0, we can then reapply power again. Where is West Coast Main Line over Shap? West Coast Main Line over Shap, it's in the northwest, so we're going from Preston up to Carlisle, and then the route actually continues further on over to the west to Castle Douglas. But this is the West Coast Main Line, which is quite well known. So anyway, it was yeah. So we've waited. So we're now down minimum notch. So now we can put it back into hold, and we can stick run up. So now the notches will come up, and we'll start seeing this come up. But this is obviously going to come up much slower, simply because we're going a lot faster. Right, the first neutral section is approaching. Now, when you hit a neutral section, you need to hit a neutral section running at notch 0. So, just to keep it nice and simple, I'm going to do that now, but I'm not going to hit off. I'm just going to notch it down. So by leaving it on run down, the notches will just work their way down, the amount of power will work its way down. That's the right way of doing it. What happens when you hit off, like I did before, is the power suddenly shoots down off here, and then you have to wait for it to come all the way down before you can put it back on again. So, we watched over here, we'll see some signs. Now, I think we've already passed one at this point. Next time I'll try and catch it. So we're now running at notch 0. I can hit off. Here is the warning for the neutral section, and here it is. There you go, click, click, and that was the light to watch. I should have said to her, watch that. So we just went through the neutral section, we can now power up again. Because we did it properly, we can run up, and all the power is immediately available to us. Hey there, John Coombs, thanks for the follow. Right, so, what happens if you get it wrong? So if you are still on power, when you hit the magnets that trip the power off, then it's the same as if you did as I did before, where I hit the off switch. And the power will suddenly vanish from the loco, so you can imagine that in real life there's quite a jerk as you come off power. And the notches will sit where they are. You'll then need to move the control to off to let the notches come down. You can't apply power until the notches have come down to 0. If you... Oh, Americano, thanks for the follow. Much appreciated. So, where was I? So if you go, the correct procedure is to, when you there's two signs. That one I did highlight was a white sign. The other one, which is some distance before that, is a black sign. When you hit the black sign, you run down, let it go down to notch 0, to tap 0, and then you go through the neutral section. As soon as you're through the neutral section, you can then run up. What you do need to do is make sure you always keep in mind what's going on here. Let's put that back in bold. Okay. So let's carry on driving. I'm going to have to run notch down again in a minute, and hopefully this time I won't make a mess of it. And yes, all is good so far. Let's see what happens when we get to the next speed limits, and then I can walk through that. Cheers, Ricky. See you later, mate. All the neutral sections are visible on the HUD. Yeah, you'll see a little marker, as we did before, saying that a neutral section is coming up. So if you're not confident about where they are, then you can just look at the HUD and you will find out. I'm fuzzy tonight. Oh, is that this green screen thing? Is that not? I know it seems a bit odd. I don't quite know. I'll try tuning it some more. I'm not quite sure why every night it's different. A little bit of speed there because I was too busy messing about with the green screen and not good enough at not watching what I was doing. However, I have started notching down. If I now put it in hold, you can see that the power has come down, the amount of power we're putting into the train has come down, and we're now slowing down. So, let me fix this green screen because I look even sillier now. Hey there, Gamesman, thanks for joining us. I have no idea why that green screen isn't working. Hang on. We need to get some power back on again, otherwise we're never going to get there on time. Alright, let's turn the green screen off. I will fix it later. Hey there, Paul T. Thanks for joining us tonight. So we're accelerating again. We're at 101. We're coming back up to 110. We've got at Ubek down Main coming up. This is a high-speed run. We're running from Preston, I believe, to Carlisle. Non-stop, all the way. And I'm not sure why the game would be fuzzy. I'm not showing any missed packets at all. In fact, to date there has been precisely 0 drop frames, so I'm puzzled about that. Is everybody else seeing the same thing? The channel is just getting really, really popular, Americana. Oh dear. Either that or everyone's just been really bored and they just can't wait for some train sim action. Right, we just had an AWS alarm. I'm also going to start notching down. In fact, I'm going to put it in rundown just to get the power pulled off. Right, here we go. We're getting a double amber indication going on here, so let's get some power, get some brakes on. We've also got a 75 speed limit coming up, so we need to brake rather sharply. This is not going to end well, is it? And there went my score. Signal amber, which means the next signal after it is a red at the moment, so we need to be very cautious of that, given the speed we're going. We have now completely notched down, so I'm going to put it back in hold, ready for us to accelerate shortly. Hey there, Dimio and Rolnia. Put the brakes on rather too much there, so put a bit of power on. I'm still not quite used to driving this one because this one's got much different, much like the some of the American locos now have got better braking systems on them that are more realistic. This one has as well. So if the train has you've got a number of coaches or wagons behind you, it takes longer for the brakes to apply and release, and that's what's just bitten me because I wasn't watching what I was doing. So if you recall, we had a red light coming up here in a little way, so I just want to be a little bit cautious as we come through here. We tapped up a little bit to get to some speed, and we're just waiting to see whether or not we get permission. Hey, it says we're running on time, I'm going to consider that. But sometimes when I've got the F10 key down to talk, it doesn't accept my inputs. Right, I can see a double yellow, I'm going to assume that's mine and get sped up. So we have to gently speed up, otherwise we'll overload. Yep, that's mine, and it's a feather. We just got a green as well. I mean, we're running late. Key to driving hard on this one is to. Sure, I saw a feather. That must have been it linking, blending with the signal behind over there. This one over here. Tricky. So yes, the trick to driving hard on this is just to keep tapping up as you see yourself coming down towards the lower end of the yellow. Yeah, probably Americano, you might well be right. The tapping throttle isn't really the problem, it's the brakes. Mind you, the brakes are normally my problem, this is nothing new. Like a lot of things, I think the part of the problem is that you need to really concentrate more on some of the more difficult locos like this one, and that's not necessarily conducive to doing the right thing when you're trying to waffle about it and talk to people about it, and well, that's fine because this is supposed to be entertaining, and I think we're succeeding on that front. Right, I can run up now and just finish off the notches. The taps are almost to the top. Got another neutral section coming up, so let's keep an eye on over here for the black sign that indicates that we need to start running down. There you go. There's the black sign. We just passed it, so it's time to run down. So we're just going to not do the rundown now. And the idea is that black sign should be in enough time for you to get the power system run down before you get to the neutral section. Or at least to the point that if you are running a bit down, running late, then the jolt as you lose power shouldn't be too bad. So we're just under halfway now on the tap changer. Now when we go over the neutral section, we've got to watch for the magnets on the track, and also watch this light here which switches off to indicate there's no more power left. Yeah, there are a number of community sites at Demio where you can download free add-ons. Don't forget also that the Steam Workshop with thousands and thousands. So here's the neutral section, first magnet, second magnet. There you go, we're through it. Now we can notch back up. So if you were going much slower, you'd hear all the blowers switch off and everything, which you can hear. Certainly, there's a neutral section just near Carlisle that you have to generally come through quite slowly, where you can hear that happen. So yes, there are a number of something like 7,000 add-on scenarios and routes on Steam Workshop. Exterior view, absolutely. Remiss of me not to do that. Remiss of me also not to have my headlights on. Apologies. Yes, Mitchell, I've turned off the green screen. It was getting all flickery and horrible. I need to readjust it, which I shall do after I finish this scenario. I can't do both at the same time. Hey Doug, welcome to the channel again this evening. So at 95, and we're accelerating. We're probably about a quarter of the score we should be. Well, no, it can't be. Half of the score we should be, rather. So any chance of a gold has gone, any chance of a silver is probably gone. Let's go for that bronze. Look, aim high. Evening, Dean. So we're still passing green lights at the moment, which is good. ETA is currently running similar to our target time. Just need to watch our speed at this point. Why doesn't the pantograph bend down under bridges? That's basically a limitation of the animation system with the pantograph, I'm afraid. It also doesn't on the newer routes that have got the properly wired catenary. You'll also find that it doesn't actually follow that precisely either. Hey there, thanks Gamesman. So in London Faversham, Munich Augsburg and some of the newer routes, we've introduced this new catenary system which is far more realistic. I'm just going to start running down now because we're starting to get too fast. Yes, it's a far more realistic system, but what it means is that sometimes now the system, the height between the loco and the wires can be different. So I'll hold that. So you end up with the same problem. And that's why we don't put the lines lower under the bridges, because it wouldn't work anyway. It would look silly when the pantograph flew through them. Let's call that something that we're aware of for next gen, shall we? So I'm just going to tap up about halfway and then see if that gets us a bit of speed coming back on. Nope, so we need to tap up a bit more. Oh, we're going uphill, so let's put it on full. That's better. We're going uphill, so we might as well give it a bit more speed. How do you unlock places? I'm not quite sure what you mean, Mitchell. Nothing's locked in the game at all. So you should be able to get anywhere you want to. If it's in the game, you should be able to get there. What is it you're having problems getting to? I'm glad you like the disappearing gnomes there, Americano. There's lots of other nice gimmicks, and yeah, they were good fun. I helped the team that worked on Game of Gnomes, and I'm really proud of what they achieved. It's really good. So the another bit that I quite like is the where the presents appear on the wagons or disappear off the wagons as it's delivering them around. That's also quite fun. But the disappearing gnomes, it took me far too long to come up with that particle effect and flashing lights and things. And it went through several iterations. At one point it was 3 different colours. It was red, green and blue particle effects all in the same thing. And that looked really silly. Silly was what we were aiming for at the time. So I've just notched down again because we're back on sort of level track. Now I wonder if part of what the green screen doesn't like is that I'm not clean shaven this evening. I've got a furry face and I wonder if it's picking that up as a similar colour to the green. Oh well. I shall have to remember to make sure that I am shaved before every show. So our next waypoint is Shap Summit, which is in 25 miles. So we've got the uphills to do now. Back on the incline, so I've raised the power again. Speed limit's dropping to 100, so we should run down a bit and get some brakes on. If needed, the gravity may actually slow us down enough. Where was I last night? I was visiting family, so unfortunately that meant I couldn't do any streaming, but I'm back tonight, and that's what matters. Weekends are difficult to stream, just partly because the reduced bandwidth, but also because there's no, whereas right now I've got a sort of a dedicated space where I'm away from other people out in the garage, and sitting here waffling away isn't going to upset too many people, whereas if I was doing that in the dining room at my parents' place at midnight, I probably wouldn't be invited back. Speed's creeping up to the 100, so I'm just going to notch down a bit. The nice thing, of course, when you're under 100 is you get that extra decimal place, which is very useful in trying to just fine-tune your speed. Hey there, Lunigo, welcome to the channel again this evening. Right, we've got Oxenholm down neutral section coming up, so we need to be aware of that. We're also going up a steep hill, or we will be in a second now. That was the black sign, so it's time to start running down. It's very tricky getting it into run down and not getting it into off, but remember, if you get it into off, leave it in off, wait for the taps to come all the way down and then start applying power again. Well, as I said earlier, it's the Gloucester Bristol is with the team to look at in the normal pile of routes that they consider, and beyond that I don't know, I'm afraid. Coming into the neutral section any minute now. So there's the white, watch the power off, on, and there we go, we can throttle up again. So let's get notched up before we lose too much more speed. Now one thing that is quite nice is that we've slowed down to about 83. There's a 90 speed limit coming up anyway, so we actually haven't lost quite as much speed as we might first have thought. ECML, how's the product going that I'm doing with Dovetail? It's going very well, thank you. I can't really talk about it at the moment, I'm afraid, but yes, it's going very well indeed. I'm really looking forward to when we can start talking to people about it. So going through Oxenholme now, and I'm just going to keep an eye on the speed. We need to get back up to 90. We're at 80 at the moment. Once we get to about 86, I shall start running down the notches again. You really have to, it's one of these routes and locos that you really have to drive from the cab, because there's so much going on, which is good. I mean, I don't particularly enjoy the simulators where you can sit back and watch them drive themselves. So we're back on the incline again now as well, so it's actually struggling to gain the speed, so I'm going to notch up some more, give it a bit more power. That's better, she's accelerating again now. Got an 85 speed limit coming up, I don't be aware of that. And I just popped it into notch down, into off. Oh, never mind. It will notch soon tap down, and then we can start putting the power on again. Hey there, HD Gaming, good to see you again this evening. No green screen tonight, because it's flapping and flashing all over the place, because looking at the screen behind me, it's all different shades, because I think it's all folded over each other, so I'm going to tidy that up in between scenarios. Right, tapping has almost gone down to 0, so we can put the power back on in a minute. Where do other trains go that pass you? In reality, they go to places all over the country. In this particular game, they probably go a little bit further behind me and then park off somewhere or disappear into a portal. Right, so we're going to just run up the notches because we're losing speed quite badly now. Actually, at the moment we're not losing speed, but we're still way ahead of schedule. We've got about 30 seconds in the bank or so. And there we go, we're notching up nicely now. So we should see the power start to go back up, the throttle go up in a minute. So the balancing point, there she goes, she's speeding up again. I'm doing very good, thanks you HB Gaming. How are you? No, I don't have any cross countries, I'm afraid. Which seems like an omission. Seems like it should fix that. Back up to 77. Through part of the route's obviously a lot more windy, so that's why the lower speed limits. Right, let's run down. Leave it on hold, that's slowed down a bit. Good, so we're getting there. And we haven't lost too much time with that little mistake. Hey, Enier, thanks for joining us on the channel this evening. So we just tipped it down, I think, slightly. Yeah, now we're decelerating, so we've kind of found the tipping point here. It's one of those things that if you're in the cab, you can actually feel it accelerating or decelerating a bit more. But, so we have to rely on that speedometer a lot. It's a long steep climb, about 1 in 100 all the way up to the top of Shap summit, which is in 13 miles. We're just coming up to Grey Rig. Speed limit drops even further to 80. Hey there, Tony Trains, Cakewalks and Zoo. Glad you enjoyed Game of Gnomes. It's meant to be a good little bit of silly fun, and I think they achieved that. Trying to keep the speed up to the 85 for as long as I can. Claw some seconds back for future inefficiencies. I'm going to run down just a little bit so that we can actually just realised that we've just come off the hill, so now the throttle's running away. Excellent. So that's it, brakes on, hold the throttle where it is. There we go, we're back under, we're now under the 80. Good. And Richard, welcome to the channel this evening. So we've balanced out at around 79.4, 0.6 of a mile under the speed limit, which is good. Accelerating very slowly, which is also good. Got a 90 speed limit coming up soon, so we can get some speed back. Let's try and spot from this guy's bedroom, shall we? Here we are. Oh look, there's a train coming. I pressed the map at really the wrong time. Right, we're in the 90, let's run up and get some more power on. I've got the 100 coming up soon as well. Really is rather pleasant up here, isn't it? We get a nice view. We're accelerating probably enough at this point, so I shall pull back on the hold on the notches. I've lost my train. Where's my train? Here it comes. Right, now I haven't been in the cab for a few seconds, so now will be the scary time to see a single amber. Hey there, new image and Americano. What other routes and trains do I have in mind to play tonight? I was actually going to do some scenario creation next, just to be a little bit different. So yes, that was what I thought I would do. Let's see what happens, shall we? So we're at 100 speed limit at the moment, and we're coming into T-Bay down neutral section, in just under a mile. So let's get run down for that neutral section, which will also help us with our speed problem since we're about to start speeding. So again, we're just waiting for the taps here to come down to 0. So we're about to go through here. Power off, power on. Now if this hasn't reached 0 by the time we hit it, then we have to wait for it to hit 0, which is how it has, so now we can run up again. The important thing is, if the power goes off, you have to wait for the taps to hit 0 before you can reapply power again. See you later, Americano. Just piling on the power again. We're at 105 speed limit now, and now we're going to start hitting another leg of the uphill climb. 5 miles to Shap Summit. See you later, Mitchell. Now we're on the incline. I need to put back on full power so that we can get some speed up. So the previous uphill was a 1 in 100 or thereabouts. We're now on a 1 in 75, which is a fair bit steeper. And it looks like we are just about holding our own. We're currently running about 50 seconds ahead of schedule, which is a good place to be. And 3.5 miles to get to that waypoint. So far, all is looking good. 21 viewers on the channel at the moment. That's fantastic. If you've just joined us, we're running West Coast Main 9 over Shap. We started at Preston a little while back, and we're making a high-speed run to Carlisle non-stop. We're driving the Class 87 locomotive, which is slightly different because of the way the tap changing works. If you're not familiar with it, then and you've just joined us, then I recommend it would be worth your while to go back and look at the video again afterwards, so you can see exactly how it works, how you do the neutral sections, and so forth. Don't forget to look us up on Facebook, on Twitter, and on YouTube. And if you're watching this after the fact on YouTube, don't forget to press subscribe. And if you're watching it now on Twitch, don't forget to press follow. Hi WCML, Spoy? I don't know quite what Spoy is. No, Lewis Hamilton, that's Formula 1 driver, isn't it? Got an 80 limit coming up, so I'm going to start running down and get ready for some brakes. We've got Shap Summit coming up in 1.2 miles. Now would be a good time to try and not speed. Get some brakes on while we're notching down. So we're under the 80 limit, so I'm going to notch back up and see if we can't rescue the downward slant of our speed, get it back up to the 80. We're almost at the very top of the route now at Shap Summit, just approaching. See, if there was a bonus for being early, I'd get a rocking good score. Bonuses for being early are a bad thing because they encourage you to drive badly. Right. Running on time. Right, now we have... I was going to say we had 2 points to look after to get the bronze medal, and we just lost them. So basically what happened there is that the power was still on. Sufficiently that once we reached the top, we started accelerating. And it's not good. I could have got round it by just flicking the off and dropping the power completely, but that's not very comfortable for passengers. It's not nice on the loco, and that's what's important in a simulator. Right, so I'm going to notch up a little bit now, because we're now in a 95 limit. However, we are going downhill. Ah, Spurs Personality of the Year. Excellent. That's really good. I'm very pleased for him. So we're going down a hill. So we do need to be a little bit careful. We need power on, but we need to be aware of the fact that gravity will be accelerating us as well. So I'm going to hold the power there. and this part of plays, it's probably more an exercise in braking. So our next waypoint is Carlisle in just under 30 miles. We're due in about 2 minutes early at this point. I'm going to assume that we're probably not going to do that, but something will go wrong between here and then, particularly with all the braking we're going to have to do. I think given that we're so far ahead, it would be wise to just be cautious on this downhill run. So I'm going to knock some power off just to reduce our acceleration. Harrison's down main coming up in about a mile. Looks like so far we're still getting green signals, which is good. So it looks like the grade is about to get steeper, so we need to be aware of that. We're doing just under 92 at the moment in the 95. On a 1 in 125 gradient downhill. Cheers, Doc. See you in a minute. Tapped minimum braking on. I'm just going to slow it down. Because what happens been with that 80 limit, now I'm losing all of my score again. And there was me being so careful. And there is my score, almost gone. So we're not going to get any score for this one. What do you do to get your maps to perfection, says Mumro2. We have very, very talented... Hope that answers your question. Just realised we have another 70 limit coming up, so I need to get slowed down for that. Hold on to my 33 points of precious score. Another neutral section coming up. So I'm going to get run down, which I should have been all along anyway, really, we're going down the hill. I didn't hold down the button. I know, I keep forgetting to hold down the button. It's useless. How do we get the maps to perfection? So this particular route was actually developed by a third party, so it doesn't quite count, but generally speaking it's artists that go and actually model the actual bits of the route, like trees and buildings and tunnels, bridges, stations, houses, and then you've got asset placers who go and place those assets down, and it's really just a question of paying careful attention to the art. I can speed up now, let's do that. Can't speed up, we've got a neutral section coming up. Twit, power off, power on. Yeah, did you hear the blowers went off that time because I'm not going too fast. Now we can run up and we can get back up to the 100 miles per hour. Shush, Alex. coming up on 80 miles an hour now, and we're still going down this 125 grade. It's going to run down some power again so we can slow down our acceleration back under control. So we're currently due in about 2 minutes early. We're only a modicum of speeding, but enough speeding to totally wipe my score out. So yay me! Doing 90 miles an hour now, and we seem to have stopped accelerating. So let's just put a little bit more power back on, so we can. I do want to get up to the 100. Got a 95 speed limit coming up. Which is fine. 75 speed limit coming up, that's slightly more concerning. We do need to be aware of that, although that looks like it's towards the bottom of the incline as well, so it's a rather nice bridge. Looks like we're coming to Penrith. Right, sorry, I was just looking after my speed there. Okay, so when you speed, why does it continuously hammer points off? The penalty for speeding is roughly 1 point per mile per hour. You are over the speed limit every second. So if you're 10 miles an hour over the speed limit, then in 10 seconds you've lost 100 points. So it is quite stunning, and it's very easy to lose your entire score, as you've seen on my little run here. But c'est la vie, that's how it is. Welcome back, Dark. Probably answer my question to this question, but is my background dead? Yes, the background is dead. Basically, when I have it switched on, it's flashing and flickering all over the place because it's not picking the green up correctly. And if you look at the way the green is, you can see the sheet's obviously not straight and it's folded back on itself. So I do need to fix that. So, but I can't do that while I'm driving the train. I made a mess of it and lost a load of points. So it was the first time I lost a load of points because I was messing about. Alex, you didn't fix your London Fabrish machine. Deleted the entire game and re-downloaded it from scratch, but still crashes. I've no idea. Okay, if you sent that to our support team, then when I get in on Monday, I will go and have a chat with them and see if they've got any ideas. Right, so I'm going to run back up again. Get some power going. We're doing 65 and a 75, which seems unnecessarily cautious, although we are now running at getting on for 3 minutes. Oh, we powered off. That wasn't clever. Right, so we've got to wait for the notches to run down now. I didn't see that we were coming up on a neutral section. I am not paying enough attention. Right, power is now off. Now we can run up. I was running some points there. Some trains have changeable message boards, some don't. It's very much down to the individual train. So if you look at the Talent 2, the German train, BR442 I think, that one has got destination boards that you can change up and down with a key press. A lot of our trains have got destination boards that the scenario author can set the destinations for. by using a character in the number of the loco. So instead of just saying, for example, it's 395012, you would say it was 395012A, and then the A would tell it which destination image to show. No green screen backgrounds, no, so it's broken because the sheet is all wobbly and I need to fix it. Oh, very nice squeezing. I don't think we need anyone like that on the channel. So we're up to 88 miles an hour. Triple flame should be appearing out the back of the train at any moment, and we should be finding ourselves in 1985. We're not back in 1985, I'm disappointed. Speed limit going up to 110. So we're at 100, which is good. Continuing to accelerate. We've got top power actually set up at the moment. We're still running at about 21 viewers, which is excellent. It's probably the highest we've had consistently for quite some time. Nothing on the HUD to tell us do we have to worry about anything. Just have to keep an eye on that speed. We're crept up, we're up to about 104. It brings a whole new meaning to the phrase coupling, doesn't it? Jinx, Alex. At 107, so I'm just going to run down some power now. Zipping around the route there, just trying to find something interesting to look. Hey there, Looney Warrior. That was my train, I totally missed it. I was too busy looking at the chat. Don't mind, I'll catch up with it on YouTube later. And you can do that too. Just check our YouTube channel. See how I did that? Was that slick? £100-mile-an-hour speed limit just coming up. We've still got our 33 points of score. I'm sure we won't have them for much longer, but let's enjoy them while we're here. Get some brakes on while we're running down just to make sure we get under 100. Brakes are off. Got an 85 limit coming up as well. So we'll just keep the power running down, let the train slow down, and we'll get the brakes applied in just a minute. And we're under the 85. Good. So now we're good to go. Get back up to the 90 in a minute. My nose does seem to be playing up this evening. I don't quite know why. I do apologise for all the sniffing. So we're doing good on time, due in at 16:09:35, ETA is 16:06:39, so pretty much 3 minutes ahead of schedule now. Let's get some power back on again so we can speed up. We're in at 90, so 90 mile an hour now. See you in a minute, Doc. Yes, our washing machine's a little bit like R2-D2. It bleeps when it wants something usually. So for scenario creation, my son gave me some very good advice. He said that I should do a scenario, two of these really. I should do one talking about passenger scenarios and one, oh interesting, and one talking about freight scenarios. So tonight I'm going to do a passenger scenario. That warning was, oh, because we're going into Carlisle, we need to slow down for the 20 mile per hour over here. That's what it's warning us about, quite rightly so, otherwise let's call those things score savers from now on, shall we? So yes, I'm going to do a passenger scenario tonight, and then perhaps another one later in the week. I'm going to do a freight scenario. We're also coming into a dead section, but that's okay because we're already run down. So we're slowing down into the 75, but we've still got to get down to this 20 mile per hour speed limit. Good, so let's put a bit more on the brakes. We are not going to make this 20 at this rate, I tell you. Here comes the neutral section. Down to 50. Oh well, bye bye 33 points. Oh, I don't know. So we've got a double amber as we approach the Carlisle area, and there we go. We're under 20 at this rate. We're going to stop. There's the sign of a professional. Panics he's going to not make it in time, and then stops the train before the sign. Brakes off, notching up. Now remember again, notching up at this speed, you have to be a little bit careful. You can't just stick it and run up. Otherwise you're going to overpower it. If you overpower it, you need to notch it all the way back down again before you can reapply power. We're in a 20 speed limit as we approach Carlisle station, which is just ahead of us. And our ETA is ridiculously early. So I'm not going to get any medals for this scenario, but I am going to get a little bit of a nudge on my score, which is always welcome. Coming into the station now. This will be our final stop. That'd be a red light. What is that red light doing there? I hope that's a repeater, or I'm in trouble. Oh no, that's for the through line. Phew. Here we are, just pulling into a stop. There was no need for panic there. And open the doors. Let's get my score and then run away before the inspector comes to find out about all that speeding. Yes, I stole my wife's Diet Coke. There isn't any Diet Pepsi. Can you buy me some Diet Pepsi tomorrow, please? Yay, well done! I'm really not sure why it's telling me well done, given that I really didn't do well. But anyway, we got here, and hopefully we now understand a bit more about tab changing and so forth on this loco, and the neutral sections on this route. Right. Let me go and figure out what I'm doing next. I'll turn the green screen and the camera off just for a minute while I go and straighten that out. Be back in a moment.